Good evening, Internet, and welcome to, you know what, I've lost count. As a musician, I'm really only used to counting up to 4, which explains the issues I have with my self-assessment. Anyway, in this video, we're going to learn all about the offbeat, and we're going to learn about rhythmic syncopation. I know. Have no fear though, as we've discovered in earlier videos, most fancy musical terms are generally very elaborate words to describe very simple concepts because, well, we like to appear cleverer than we actually are. Now, first off, as we talked about in the last video, we examined quavers or eighth notes, which are notes that are worth half a beat. So when we're playing in quavers, we're playing 2 notes to the beat, and we're dividing the beat into 2 halves. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, today we're going to focus on the up or off beat. Very simply, when you're dealing with quavers and you're dealing with 2 halves of the beat, the first half, the downbeat, where your foot taps down towards the floor, that's the part that we count as the 1, 2, 3, 4. The up or off beat, where your foot comes up or off the floor, that's when we count that as an and that sounds like this. And 2, and 3, and 4. Highly technical, but I'm sure you're more than capable of wrapping your head around that. So here, I want to try and demonstrate the different feels. So here is the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very direct. Now, if I move to the offbeat, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I've got a much bouncy, almost a reggae kind of vibe. And actually, this rhythm is heavily associated with reggae music, but not solely with reggae music. For example, I'll give you this riff. Sex on Fire by the Kings of Leon. If I were to play that riff the other way around, where the notes fall on the downbeat rather than the offbeat, it'll sound like this. Yeah, you can hear it just doesn't feel right. It's lost its bounce. It's lost the thing that makes it catchy. It's there, it's perfectly pleasant, and it's very solid sounding, but the feel is completely different. So mastering this offbeat is a crucial part of being a good rhythm guitarist, and being a good rhythm guitarist is a crucial part of being a good guitarist, full stop. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to put the drums on, and we'll try playing along just with an A chord, just to get the feel of this. Now you can pause me, loop me. I'll put my metronome there at 60 beats per minute. So after I've demonstrated this, pause the video, try it with your own metronome, and loop it until you're happy with it. Then we'll move on. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now you'll notice that even though I'm not playing on the downbeat, I'm still moving my hand for it. I'm strumming the air effectively. Now this is very important because when we get into mixing up downbeats and upbeats, you're going to need to keep this hand moving in a constant 8th note rhythm. Rhythm is all about constant motion at a tempo, and as you can see there, if I'm mixing up downbeats and upbeats, it's imperative to keep my hand moving at the same speed the whole way through. If I start stopping and starting, straight away it all goes to hell. And when you're playing more advanced rhythms, as you will get to a little way down the line, stuff like this, you can see that at no point does my hand stop moving. And at that speed I'm not counting anything. You know, things are going past way too fast to consciously count. It's all about keeping constant momentum with your pick hand. So that's what we're going to try and focus on. So pause me, set your metronome to 60 BPM, and work on that for a little while. When you come back, we're going to try putting some chords together. So, as this offbeat rhythm is so heavily associated with reggae music, we're going to try a chord sequence that is inspired by the Bob Marley classic Three Little Birds. It's an 8-bar chord sequence, and we're going to need the chords of A, D and E. We're going to put them together like this. So we're going to start with the A, and then move to the E, back to the A, and up to the D. That's the first half of our sequence. Practice those chords over as arpeggios, and then we'll continue with the second one. Okay, second half of the sequence: A, E, D, and A. So the first half kind of sets up a question, call, answered by the second half, response. Now, I'm going to play each of those bars with, I'm going to play a bar of each of those chords with an 8th note rhythm. Still getting used to this whole talking to camera business. And that means that what we're looking for is this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If I put that together with the drums, that's going to sound like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and So, as always, pause me, practice that until you're really happy with it, and then we'll move on to playing it with the backing track. Right, so here is the backing track. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'll leave you with that to practice. Pause me, work through that until you're completely happy with it. And backing track will see it available with your copy of a 0-point guitar, available from Lulu and Amazon and various other places. I'm going to show you one more thing now. This is where we're going to join up downbeats and offbeats, or upbeats, because a great deal of rhythms do that. When you're happy with the upbeat, we can get to mixing the two together, and you'll find that this is where your rhythm playing really starts to come to life. And I'm going to show you one little song here. We'll take a quick run through the chords. A, D, E and D. Again, run those as arpeggios. Pause me, practice them until you're happy with it, then come back. And we've got a half a bar of each chord. So I'm going to show you first a simple crotchet rhythm just to give you a foundation. And we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As always, pause me, I will never take it personally. And practice these through until you're happy with them. Right, next thing we're going to add is the strumming pattern. Now what I'm going to do to begin with is just strum on an A chord. I'm going to focus all my attention on getting the pick hand part right. So what I'm doing is playing 1, 2 and 4. So I'm playing on the downbeat of 1, downbeat of 2. I'm missing the downbeat of 3 and playing on the and of 3, and then playing on the downbeat of 4 again. 1, 2 and 4. Can be a good idea sometimes to, certainly for younger players, to sit and clap these rhythms. 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. And then progress to tapping the pick hand against the body of the guitar. 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. Before we move to strum it on just the one chord. 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. Now you'll notice that although I'm not playing the strings for beat 3, I am strumming the air. And this is just to keep my hand moving in a constant rhythm and ensuring that my rests are at the same tempo as the notes I'm playing. I don't want a quaver rest to be any longer than the quaver that I'm playing, if that makes sense. So I'm doing my utmost to keep everything at the same tempo. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And this means that by the time you get to playing this is giving you a grounding for playing that style of music. Hello dog. Can't resist a bit of reggae. Okay, now let's try putting these chords and rhythms together. I'm going to start with the first bar, half a bar of A, half a bar of D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And I'm using the downbeat of 3 where I'm just strumming the air to change the chord. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So once again, pause me, practice that until you're happy with it, and then we'll add the second bar. Okay, second bar is E to D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Pause me. I never take it personally. And practice that bar. Now let's put them together. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 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 And lastly, here is the track with the backing track from 0 Point Guitar. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so there we go, and that's introduced the concept of rhythmic syncopation, which is essentially a very elaborate word for making rhythm more interesting by playing in the parts where you don't expect, i.e. the offbeats, and not playing where you do expect them, i.e. the downbeats, and then mixing up downbeats and offbeats to create something more interesting. Essentially that's what rhythmic syncopation is. There's lots of refinements we can make on that, but at its core that's what rhythmic syncopation is. So, been a bit of a long one today, but we're getting into more and more advanced stuff. So I'll leave you with that to practice internet. We'll wrap that up for tonight, and on behalf of Buster and myself, no? Okay, we'll wish you adieu. See you in the next one.